Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian in Norfolk, Virginia, where we are at NATO Allied Command Transformations, Chiefs of Transformation Conference, an annual gathering of transformation leaders from across the alliance. And we've got with us Mark Fox, who is the Global Defense Programs Chief at Amazon Web Services. Mark, good to see you.
Vago, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, so I wanted to ask you, everybody has a sense on what Amazon does generally, from the standpoint of the intelligence community, the cloud services that you guys provide. But you guys also have a whole range of other services, including what you guys are presenting here. Obviously, this is sort of an innovation hub where there are a lot of companies that are bringing some innovative products to bear. What is it you're showcasing here today?
So people are very familiar, as you'd said, with the traditional web services. They understand there's compute and storage and networking and databases. What we're showing today is a little bit more of the newer services that are out that are tied to the Internet of Things, machine learning. So the service that we're showing is a service that is called AWS Recognition, and it will recognize faces, people, entities, and then at a very fast rate, whether that's one person that's going through the system or it's n number of persons, we will scale out that back-end infrastructure to be able to extract that out. The demonstration that we've been doing today, we're actually having Ben Snively here is with me. We'll upload a picture of himself and some family members.
And it's a beautiful family it is, Ben, I must say.
But there's also a back-end database that has a picture of Ben who happens to be a bad guy in this scenario. So as it goes through and pulls out the entity of Ben, his wife and child, it will recognize those three people. It will know there's balloons, happy, they're eating, those things. But it's also in the background doing a check against, and it will alert and say that Ben happens to be a bad guy. So that really is a quick way to show the recognition service and the speed and scalability of that. But at the same time, Ben's gone through another phase, which is the ability to now interact with the back-end data through Lex, another service that's come out, thus the name Alexa with some of the Amazon Echo devices. So Lex service is now extendable to other devices, so Ben actually will interact with the back-end system verbally, ask who is that, why is it alerting, where's the last time we've seen him talk to him, and at some point we'll actually clear the alarm. We have some Internet of Things devices, a Philips Hue device here, or others that are tied to it as well. So it's an ability to show at a high level what is cloud, compute storage is powering these services, and then the higher level services such as recognition or Lex, we're showing those, which are services they use. The customer doesn't have to worry about the servers or the storage. Those things happen automatically for them in the background. So it's been a really good hit, and trying to bring the generals and admirals through here for 2 minutes and get through that has been a challenge, but I think we've gotten their attention.
Obviously there were some very senior people whose names will not go mentioned who did spend quite a lot of time over here as we were waiting to talk to you. Talked about the learning attributes of this, right? Because you guys are showing facial recognition as well, but also systems recognition, right? What kind of learning features are built into this as you guys are putting more information in it? The system itself is learning about what's a threat, what's not a threat, and what to look for.
Right, so obviously using machine learning basics, as the system gets more information pumped into it, it continues to get smarter over time. So as an example today, if I have pictures that go up there of a person that is, let's say, 20 years old, this is a real world example, and it will recognize that person as Susie. I might have a picture of Susie who's 6 years old, and today it might not be able to make that distinction that that's the same person. Over time, the algorithms will get better, they will get smarter and smarter, and be able to even bridge the gap between things like that. So that's the nice part about the machine learning side of this, is the systems get smarter over time as more data is pumped into them.
One of the things that was a point made is how powerful, I'm not saying this from a commercial standpoint or giving you guys a plug, but really from a price point standpoint, how much computing power is now available to somebody on an individual purchase basis, as opposed to investing literally tens of millions of dollars in that computing capacity to do stuff. But one question that keeps coming up, and you and I have talked about this, is this sense about the security of the data that's on the cloud, right? I mean, folks want to touch the computer where their data is residing. Talk to us a little bit about, what are the features that go into it, and that the data that resides on, how are you safeguarding that data, basically, that may belong to everybody else, but is secure, nested in your system?
Right, so there's a variety of things that will play into that question. One is around the scale of the cloud. At the scale at which we operate, traditional things that have been done around the security realm that can be done with brute manpower don't work at scale in the cloud. So many of these security services have to be automated. We take advantage of the power of the cloud. In many ways, it takes a cloud to protect a cloud, because a lot of things that you want to do is to capture everything that happens in a cloud and analyze it. That's a big data challenge. That's an analytics challenge. And we happen to have a lot of compute and storage capacity to be able to protect that cloud on behalf of our customers. So that's an important aspect to understand. The other thing is trying to get customers to understand where is that line of demarcation for which we are responsible for and take care of. That is really security of the cloud. Whereas customers then come in and do things within the cloud and they are responsible for what they do in the cloud. There's lots of tools that we provide them to help themselves be more secure in the cloud, to give them an increased level of visibility of what they are doing in the cloud. Hopefully they choose to use them and increase their security posture, but it's really above that line of demarcation, which will vary depending upon the service. It's the customer's responsibility to take care of and secure themselves in the cloud. There are many things that we will do on their behalf. One of those, for example, is a new service that we just released out. It's a DDoS service for customers, where we have an ability to do certain things on their behalf that we're now doing for all customers. For customers that require a higher level of security and DDoS protection, they actually will pay for it. The base level is included in just using the web services. The higher level, they pay a little bit for it. They get a dedicated security team to support them if there were an incident. And if they're doing proper scaling and usage of the cloud and their environment scales from one server to n number of servers because of a DDoS attack as an example, we will work with them and ultimately we will remove those costs that as a result of a DDoS attack as we work with them to go ahead and mitigate that, move traffic around, that sort of thing. So a lot of new services that have come out that are at a higher level, many of them are security related as an example.
From a cost point standpoint, where are we going to be in just 5 years' time? Because if you look at it, one of the examples was a pharmaceutical company would have invested $40 million to do 39 years of equivalent human research that was compressed into 9 hours and was $4,200 or something like that is the example. Where's the price point for this going to be going in a couple of years, and how does that work on your business model, basically? Because you're looking at folks who are maybe not spending a lot of money, so then it's on scale. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, what I can talk to is historically, right? We are now in our 50-something price drop in 10 years. I believe that trend will continue, and that's something that's new and different for these customers who are typically looking to put in price increase protections when we walk in and we talk to them about, hey, we've just lowered our prices again. So as an example, having been here for a number of years, on base storage, when I got here it was 14 cents a gigabyte per month to store an image or something in Amazon's S3 service. There was a significant price drop when it went from 14 cents to 9 cents. Then there was a price drop to 3 cents, and then down to a penny. And then some of those storage services now are less than a penny per gigabyte per month. Again, that's been the trend, whether that's been storage or compute, and I suspect we'll continue to see that trend into the future.
And your prior Navy, you work closely with the customers. How does the mindset about data have to change, right? Because if you look at it, the entire ecosystem is changing ultimately. And how does the customer need to maybe think differently about how he uses some of these services as opposed to the historic model that they've had?
Well, I think that goes to some of the challenges that are out there today, and to get them to the point to where they can use them. There is tremendous demand at we'll call it the developer level. There's a tremendous desire at the very senior levels of government to utilize modern technologies like cloud computing. And the challenges is where things get done in the middle, whether that's how do I acquire something that is a utility model. The government's very comfortable with buying a traditional box, a server, storage. They're still struggling with how do I buy a server by the hour, and how do I ensure that I don't get in a situation where I overspend or control it. And those drive conversations to say that server is 50 cents an hour as an example, but we provide you tools to put in controls, whether it's a billing alert, or if I spin up more than 2 servers, alert me, or tell the system, don't spin up more than 2 servers. Those are all capabilities that customers have, and it just takes a while to get through the process to educate them to the various tools that are in this toolbox, and this toolkit that is Amazon Web Services, to give them the assurances and protection that they really need to have that they didn't realize, because initially it's just a server, it's 50 cents an hour, and I'm afraid someone's going to spin up not 2, but 2,000 of them, and then I'm going to get into an Anti-Deficiency Act situation.
Mark, thanks so much for spending time with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.